Hey guys, welcome back to
Real Love Scenario.
Ooh. Welcome back to Real Love Scenario. I'm Dre. This is Rhonda.
Thank you.
If
Hi.
you're new here,
This is Dre.
welcome. I'm Dre.
I'm Rhonda.
Welcome. Be a part of Real Lover Gang that we're already in.
Yes.
Like, subscribe, comment, do all the things to be
Please.
part of the gang. It is free to you. It means a lot to us. It helps us grow this channel and relationship restored.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We're so thankful for you.
Doing okay, Rhonda?
I'm doing
Good?
wonderful. How
Good?
about you?
I'm doing well.
Good.
Blessed and highly favored as always.
Yes, God.
Yes, Lord. I wanted to read a Real Lover review, but this was a little different because this is somebody who's written in already, but we're responding to something they wrote.
I love this.
So this first comment came from when we were talking about our Lil Real Lover.
Baby girl.
Baby girl.
Okay, yes.
Baby girl.
Yes.
The teenage love.
Yes. Little puppy love.
Puppy love. And we read a comment from Lisa Powell. And then Lisa Powell responded on our last video and said, I was listening to this episode on my phone while working. My daughter is in bed and I hear my name and my mouth drops open. I look at her mouth is open. I was excited that you guys read my comment, and even funnier that she was in my room listening and she was like, why you telling my business? But I really appreciate your episodes. They are always great.
Oh my gosh, that's so amazing. I love that.
Like in the moment where it's just like listening to it and the daughter's like,
why you telling people about what I'm going through? Stop. Mind your business. Watch out now, Lisa, because if your daughter right in, she'd be like, well, since mama got something to say, let me tell you about her.
If she was from the DMV, she would say that was embarrassing.
Embarrassing. That's so embarrassing. And irritating. That's
you know us.
I do.
You know your neighbor.
I do. That's so sweet. Well, Lisa, now you heard your name in 2 episodes.
Yes,
we appreciate the follow up. And baby girl, don't be mad at her. She meant well, and she's happy that you have her and you have us to help you on your young journey in love.
That part.
Yes. That is so funny. It's so sweet. That is amazing.
Are you ready for our real love scenario?
Let's get into it. This week we hear from a young gentleman. I love how he starts this off. He says, I wanted to get Dre Smith's opinion on the situation I've been facing with my girlfriend. Well, guess what, my guy? You're going to get mine too, okay? He says, I usually keep my personal life private, but since I know I'll probably never meet both of you in real life, here we are. Not to mention, I really appreciate the advice you share on your podcast. I've been dating this girl since childhood. We grew up on the same street and have known each other since 7th grade. Now at 21, I have a career in the industrial field and education beyond a high school diploma. I want her to match my ambition so we can build a future together, but she's uncertain about her path. She knows she wants to enter the medical field, and I've offered to help her because she's important to me. However, I made it clear that if she doesn't establish a career in the next 2 to 3 years, I would consider moving on to someone who is equally driven and at the top of their game. She hasn't reacted negatively, as we're both adults who communicate well. Still, there are moments when she worries that I might leave her because of what I said. I'm reaching out for your perspective on this situation. What do you guys think?
Thank you for writing in.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate you for reaching out. You have Dre Smith here in the flesh.
Yes, you
along
do.
with Rhonda.
Yeah.
He met you. He said,
I'm gonna play co-pilot.
He said, I'll never get to see y'all.
You might though.
So he wanted you to chime in too.
All right, you're right. I'm your co-pilot.
There we go.
I'm right. I understand it though, because you know how much I love when guys write in, and I think
Yes,
you
you
are
do.
such a great inspiration to men of all ages, but especially young men. So I get it. I very much under. I'm just teasing you.
Okay, where you think we should start with this one?
I think we should start with, this is not puppy love, right? But
No,
it's still
young love.
pretty young love. And I think you had young love.
I did.
You met a person where you were like, okay, we are young, but you had all these dreams and all these things that you wanted to do. And I think it was important to you to have someone who can match that to some degree. So I want to talk about the importance of, I guess, alignment even in your youth, where there's still a time where you're like really developing yourself. To me, he said they're both 21. It's like, I don't want to come across as the old lady here, but clearly I'm 20 years older. And I know that at 21, I was still very much figuring out what I wanted to do. Like, and so was every other 21-year-old around me. None of us were like locked solid, completely new, and we're totally on that path. We just weren't. So I'm curious to know, like, in you meeting Bree, you were 22?
Yes. Yeah, 22.
22. And she was 23. So it's like, did you feel like when you first met her, you guys were so aligned and everything she needed to understand her path because you maybe understood yours to some degree?
That's a good question. I think that we were aligned where it was most important, which was our values, right? All the other things we had to figure out, because there's really two things that you have to align on to have like kind of a perfect harmony in your relationship. So one is aligning on the goals that you want to achieve as a couple.
Yeah.
And the underrated other part that people don't think about is aligning on the method in which to get and achieve those goals. Because it's like there's times in our relationship that Brie and I had the same goals, but we had a thought on the different methods on how to achieve those goals.
Yeah.
We want a house. We want X amount of dollars. We want to grow this. We want to do that. I think we should do it this way. She thinks we should do it that way. So it still presents the same issues as if the goals were different,
Yeah.
right? We still got to figure out how to align because we're working separately to do that. So I think alignment is important early on. You just have to give time to have the other things start to align. Like the values probably from early on should be aligned because that's going to be really the foundation of what you're going to work on or with in your relationship. Do we believe in the same things? Do we morally believe in the same things? But as far as like, if somebody should cook versus not cooking, aligning on that, or if somebody should work this way and not that way, even little things from should the towels look like this or be like that. It's like, it takes time to just learn each other. Yeah. There's going to be sacrifices in that relationship in order for you guys to be aligned on a particular thing.
Yeah, I definitely think alignment is important no matter how old you are. I agree with you totally that you should be aligned primarily on values and like ultimate life goals, which will change as you continue to grow. Like at 21, to be honest with you, I think my primary goal was like to get a career, to like lock in on something that I felt relatively passionate about. But I didn't. I was working in real estate management, but I didn't know that is what would ultimately become my career. Not at that age, but I knew that I wanted to work. I knew that I wanted to work in corporate America, and I knew that I wanted to be a part of that like 9 to 5 hustle bustle. I thought that was like very cool at that age. But did I know that? Could I put language to I want to one day manage multi-million-dollar assets in Washington, D.C.? No, like I didn't know it that's in that specificity. I just knew that I wanted to be successful. And what that really meant, I would learn over time in relationships. But things that have not changed about me since I was 21 are truly like my values. Like I want to be in a monogamous relationship. I want God to be an important part of our relationship. I want someone that wants to have, at that time, I was certain that I wanted twins, but at a minimum, I wanted kids, so I wanted to be with someone that wanted kids. I wanted someone that valued and appreciated family dynamics outside of the family we'll create, like they have a healthy relationship. So all of those things have stood with me year over year, decade over decade in my life. And so 100% agree with you that like aligning on true values and then generally the goals that you want for your life and what you would want out of your partnership should be the primary source of alignment. Because even when you think about like common interests, it's nice to have common interests, but some relationships can work where there are very few common interests, and in fact most of their interests are different. Relationships can still work like that if it's two people that really respect it. Like You love to read. I hate reading, but I don't poo-poo on your decision to read or your love for reading. I give you your space. When you're doing that, I'm more of a I want to ride my bike. So, and you may not be into that. So while you have your 2 hours to sit and read, I'm going to support that. I'm going to sign you up for a book club. I'm going to help burn the candles, whatever
Yeah.
sets the environment for you to do that while I go outside and ride my bike. And we can respect the individuality of one another that still brings us close together and creates harmony in the relationship because we respect our differences. So you don't have to be in lockstep about every single thing. In fact, you probably shouldn't be in lockstep about every single thing because you need some healthy separation within your relationship.
You need a healthy separation, and you ultimately need balance. Like Bree and I align on values, but are definitely different when it comes to our common interests and even our methods on how we do certain things. But that gives us balance.
Yeah.
Which is great. It's not opposites. It's like
it's like kind of complementary.
Yeah, it's complementary.
Yeah.
In the way that, you know, where I'm weak, she's strong, and vice versa. So I definitely agree with you. I think another part of this, which is important and we should dive into, is kind of something you spoke about, is we have to, this whole ambition thing that people always say, and you hear it a lot in relationships. I hear a lot when women are talking about men that they're with, and men talking about women. But we have to, ambition, I feel like people associate like the opposite of ambition with just like, or if somebody doesn't match their ambition, they kind of just put them in a category of then like being lazy almost, to where I don't think that's true. I think that you can be, I don't think you have to have a clear defined career path to be ambitious, I guess, right? Or that if you're still trying to figure something out, that you can't be a hard worker, right? It's like, I don't know. It seems like there's this distinction sometimes that if somebody doesn't know what they want to do, that they're somehow lazy, or that it's somehow not focused, or they somehow don't want to inspire to be something greater. I know people who are not happy and still trying to figure it out that make like 150 a year, or 165 a year, or 200 a year. Like they have careers. They work their way through it.
Not to tell my business, but hello, hello, hello.
Like, they're still trying to, they're working in their careers. They built it up. Very hard workers, but they're still not ultimately saying that this is what I want to do for the rest of my life if I had a choice in it, right? And then everybody has different values on what they want to do from a career standpoint. It's like some people's goal is just to make the most money as possibly can. So that doesn't matter what industry, what the job is, what the career path is necessarily. You're not married to any of it. You're married essentially to the money that it could be made from it. To where other people want to find purpose in their work. So it's like, although I'm in a career that's making money, I'm not feeling like it's purpose filled. So I'm still in the situation of like, hey, I'm working, I'm doing the thing, but I'm not inspired. So then, you know, I move up because that's just how I am. But the ambition to do all these things in the career path that I'm in right now is like, not really. There, as if it was something that was really purpose driven, purpose driven. But then also it's like a lot of people, and I would say majority of the people, stumble into career paths. Like we had talked about this earlier, to where we, you and I, we talk to people and kind of like, it's like case studies, like just listening. I always ask people, and I talked to somebody recently, one of my friends of mine who's a dentist, and I asked him, I'm like, you know, with you getting your degree and, you know, going to dental school, like how early did you plan this out? Anybody that I know that like is a lawyer or like a doctor or like this thing to where you really had to like put in a lot of work to get here, like how early did you plan this out? But I come to find that that's super rare of people who like from 13 like knew this is what I want to do, and they did everything in order to want to be in this space. Like for most people, you just stumble into something. It may be your first job that led to this, that led to that, that led to that. Like in high school, I wasn't thinking about property management, which you and I went into. It was just like I went to a career fair. I was in hospitality major, and it was either restaurants, hotels, amusement parks, events. And then this like property management company was like, hey, you kind of get the best of both worlds. You get to do hospitality, you help residents, but then you also like get to go home at a certain time. You don't got to stay 24 hours. And I was like, huh.
Yeah.
Never thought about this. This is
Yeah.
a cool option. And then as I end up going through it, you know, I got promoted and stuff like that. Would you say I was in love
No.
or ambitious about property management? No.
No.
But that's the path. I have a work ethic, you know, I'm able to work, you know, to move up. And that's how I ended up in that career path. And if I didn't go the route that I am now, it's possibly I could have been a man, you know, a regional or a man, you know, in that field. And it still wouldn't have been the thing that I ultimately probably wanted to do. And now I'm managing, I'm an executive at a media company managing a podcast network, like 120 podcasts. I didn't dream of this. I didn't think of it. I didn't write this in my book of like, this is what I want to do. It's like I stumbled into all of this. So sometimes you just have to, I think the issue or the thing you need to be more concerned about is if you have a lazy person.
Yes.
That's an issue.
Yeah.
Because no matter what they try to apply themselves to or put themselves to, even if they say it's what they want to do, they're never going to achieve it because they don't want to put in the work. But if you have somebody who's willing to work hard and they're just trying to figure out something that more aligns with what they ultimately want, it is normal, especially at the age of 21 and even older, just to let you know, to still be trying to find that thing and create that path for you. Because I always believe that if you are not living every day to live the life that you want, then what's the point of even living at that point? Like if you're just like, you should always still be trying to, if you're not happy or not necessarily happy, but if there's more that you want to achieve, every day in your life, you should be working to try to do that if that's what you want.
Yeah. And, you know, listening to you talk about like falling into property management or being recruited into it and then kind of falling into media now, the core value of that is hard work. The core value is that I know that I want to work. You know what I mean? I know that I want to put forth, I want to leave a mark on any industry and anything that I do. And so no matter what I happen into, I want to do it well. I want to be successful at it. You were successful to the level that you got to in property management, and then you pivoted and made changes. You were successful in launching businesses, and you got to a level with that and still are in that level, but working more and more on that. And then now you're in this space as an executive at a media company. It's like, and I'm working hard to, and have made amazing accomplishments in that field. The theme here is that I value hard work. I value the output of hard work. I value what comes out of that. And so again, those are values that you had. When you think about property management, we met when you were 21. You know, like, were you as hard of a worker, as disciplined as you are today? No. But you understand how many 21-year-olds who don't work, they don't have a job at all. They home, they chilling.
Yeah.
Some of them are still in school, so they're chilling really because of that. Their work is their collegiate career. So the values are what really, really matter. And to be honest, when I first read this, I kind of felt like he was being a bit harsh. I felt like it was like, sure, this is a strong mindset to have because you found yourself in an industrial career, which that is such a broad field. So I don't know exactly what you're doing, but I'm sure you are new to it because you're 21. You said that you have education beyond a high school diploma, but it doesn't sound like you have a degree. It sounds like you're somewhere in limbo. Like you finished high school, you got your diploma, and now you got some education, whether that was through the industry that you joined, like you got a certificate or you went to a trade school. You did something to obtain some additional education, but not a bachelor's. I'm not gonna say not old enough, but I think that if he had a master's degree or a bachelor's degree, he would have said that. You've gotten some additional education that probably aligns with whatever the job is that you have right now. So because you've made these few steps to start to secure your future, a young lady who you've known since y'all were in middle school, who you grew up on the same street as and is the exact same age as, and it sounds like you've been dating her all of this time. It almost feels like, I don't want to say you're looking down on her, but it comes across that way. She even has expressed that she knows she wants to be in the medical field. Again, a very broad industry that has so many jobs associated to it. So maybe she's just trying to figure out exactly what that looks like.
I've been in this position.
Yeah.
Yeah. with my first girlfriend in college. And I would just warn against putting yourself on such a pedestal, of making it seem like you have it all figured out. Because that's what it comes off as. And I've been there. It's like, you think you have it all figured out. So therefore, because you have what you seemingly think at the age of 21 is what women would want, or what a man should be doing to take care of the woman he's with in his relationship. Now you're just hypercritical of every move that she's making.
Right.
When a lot of things that you criticize really don't matter in the grand scheme of things. I did that with my ex-girlfriend, where I would, tell her she need to do this. How you not know how to cook? How you not do it? How you not do all that? And I had to kind of realize, like, yo, all that stuff don't really matter. And the things that I thought I knew, I didn't really know at all. So you just have to be careful of doing that and pushing somebody down, because let me say this too, is that if you are in a relationship with this woman and you see a future with her and you want a future with her, don't make a habit of, and this is for everybody just in general, don't make a habit of people that you want to be intentional with and have a future with, of pitting them against you in order to hit some level to achieve whatever they need to achieve to be with you, as if like you're up here and they're down here and they need to work their way up to your level to be worthy of your companionship. It's like, if you want something from the person that you're with, then approach it as a partner. Approach it as like, hey, I see that you're still trying to figure it out. What could we do? Is there anything I can help you with? Is there anything, do you know what you're into? Maybe you should just try it. Like, just try it. Like, no pressure. See if you like it. Like, approach it that way. When you start putting timetables, it's kind of like, you are unqualified for me and you have X amount of time to get qualified.
That's it.
And it's like, that's not the way in which to find something that somebody feels good about.
No.
That's a way in which somebody essentially checks a box and does something that's like, I'm just doing this, like Marshawn Lynch song, Get Fine, right? I'm just doing this just to check the box, to make sure everything good. But you're ultimately going to get into a situation where they're unhappy anyways about what they're doing if you're forcing them to do that in their way. And now you added this undue stress on your relationship to where now every second she's just like looking like, I don't know if this is, about to end, because I still don't know what I want to do yet. I want to try this, but will he get mad if I try this? And I'm sure, because if you're like me, you think you're helping by trying to tell her every move that she should be making and what she should and shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
But it's not the way that you need to go about it. You need to be in a space where you trust the person that you're with to make their own decisions. Understand, and we talked about this in the last episode, trust that they're not going to do anything that's going to bring harm to the relationship, and that they're going to do the best that they can to hold up their end of whatever they said they would do in your relationship. But yeah, don't put yourself on that pedestal like that.
No, I want you and so many people to understand, anybody that's in a relationship, I truly believe that your tongue holds the power of life or death, literally. Like, you can speak so much life into your partner to inspire them to be who they really want to be, not who you want them to be, but who they really want to be. And if they are, by way of your encouragement and support through the things that you say, not even just obviously the things that you do, but I want to speak specifically to the language that we use with our partners. You can speak so much life into a person that they become exactly who they are, which ultimately is who you want them to be anyway. The best partner for you is a person who is in love with, is happy with who they are, because they can be themselves and therefore show up for you in the best way. But on the flip side of that, that same tongue, that same mouth can basically kill a person's dreams. It can kill their ambition. It can make them feel less than. It can make them feel like they're in competition with you, which is absolutely not something you should have in a relationship. I have reached certain heights in my career, quite literally, because of the love that I had in my life at that time. It's very specifically from a romantic partner. I made certain transitions and I made certain decisions just from being in the house with him and talking about certain things and just how he responded to it, his encouragement, his support to make a decision that in a moment felt like a step backward. For me, that's how I interpreted it. And his language was, well, baby, sometimes you got to move back to get forward. And I'm going to stand beside you 100% of the way. Like, I don't want you to be down on yourself for having to walk away from this particular job, because it's going to probably set you up to get to this next step. His encouragement lifted me up when I needed that. And never, ever did he or I'm not gonna say anybody that I've ever been in a relationship with, because I have been in a relationship where the person, it felt like we were in competition and it was not a good feeling.
Yeah.
But this very particular relationship, that man supported me in ways that, like I said, while I did the work and I had the talent, that encouragement really spoke life into me. It would send me into the job some days like, with him and I, with this one right here in my life, is not anything that I really cannot do. It is disheartening that you would even and I have to throw you some grace because you're so young. You know what I mean? Like, I
did it.
Like sometimes you just a little irrational about certain things. It's not to poo-poo on you because you are young or make it seem like you don't know what you're doing. But the truth of the matter is, in some ways, you don't know what you're doing. To set a timeline to tell someone, if you don't get this right within 2 to 3 years, I'm going to move on. And now you're saying she's worried and acting concerned that you're going to leave her. Well, I mean, you said that. You use your mouth, you use your tongue to make her feel like she's on the clock. Mm-hmm. She's on the clock. And you can absolutely, like Dre just said, gave you some really great ideas on how to be inclusive when you're talking about the things that you want to see in your relationship. You can even be like wildly optimistic, like, babe, now that I locked in this job and I got this certification and I'm doing this and you're finding your way in the medical field, like, imagine how our lives are going to look in 5 years. Like, we really just lock in right now, like 5 years from now, we're going to look back at this moment like we really just put our best foot forward and we got things done. Like, you can do it like that so that she's like, oh yeah, I want to be able to look back and be like, oh, look at all we did in the last 5 years.
Well, I think that's just an indication that you guys need to review the goals that you want or have for each other. Because the question I always ask why. It's why do you want your partner to have the same level of ambition that you have? Mm-hmm. That would be the first question. Why? Because I've seen couples that one person has way more ambition that drives what they do in a career. The other person is happy in their career and it works fine. Like, why does that person need to have the same level of ambition, especially from a career standpoint, that you have?
Yeah.
Now, if there's a life standpoint that you want to live a certain way, live in a certain house, and somebody expresses they don't want to do that, then that's fine.
That's a different story.
That's a different story. Then y'all have a different conversation. But if you guys want the same things, value the same things, but you just have a higher level of ambition when it comes to career focused things or when it comes to money to be made, like, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Like I said, we're not saying that's a lazy person you're with. They just don't have that level of ambition to achieve all those things that you want to achieve. And that's fine. That also provides that balance that I was talking about. It's like, you're that hard worker, they're more laid back. And when you come home, they can provide an environment that's not that. Because I don't think the funny thing is that people sometimes want somebody like themselves in a relationship, but have never dated somebody like themselves. And you'll be very surprised if you find that person like you, how much you can't put up with yourself. Because if you meet somebody that has ambition, you
might come second.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. Like, hey, I thought we were doing dinner. Hey, you never home when. Oh, you wanted somebody to match that ambition, right?
Yeah.
That may not be what you're looking for.
That may not be.
So it's like you have to give grace in that moment, especially like Rhonda said, at the age of 21. We're all, like I said, even at 30, people are still figuring it out.
Yeah.
So I
At
mean,
41, still figuring certain things out.
yeah,
And I think sometimes like there's no room here for the untapped potential. Not just why do you want the person to have the same level of ambition, but really try to inquire as to why they may not have it. Like, is it just truly that they're comfortable? This is their max and they're very okay with it. Like, I remember having a conversation with one of my friends and he was like, why doesn't everyone want you, what he called euphoria, as in like the highest levels of success, wanting to be a millionaire? Well, some people don't see that as a goal because they hyper focus on the negatives that can come with being that rich. Everything about being rich is not positive. It's not. So it comes with sometimes a lot of pressure. It comes with an overwhelming responsibility. If you're the only person or the first person in your family like that, it comes with certain literal burdens, like tax burdens that can be really heavy and really hefty. It can just come with a lot of negatives, especially if you get it by way of fame, right? Like then you got that layer. You're very rich, but you can't go nowhere. You can't have private moments. Everybody's in your business. You can't even pick boogies in your car in peace because, well, cameras are following you all the time. But it could also just simply be they never had someone, like I said earlier, really speak life into them to encourage them that you can actually do whatever you want to do. They may just be scared. They may like, well, I never saw myself being successful in that way. I just saw my mom or my dad, we just got a job and you just went to work every day. Maybe they just don't know that there are all these possibilities to be better air quotes, or be have more. They may have just never seen that, and it may just be worth that conversation to understand it, because once you talk about it, it could just be as simple as, oh my gosh, but babe, you're so smart, you're so whatever, you're so this, you're so that, you really could do it. Like, maybe we should just, like you said, try something. Just try your hand at it. Let's just see what happens if we kind of just tiptoe into this. Many entrepreneurs also fell into that. They didn't all just know, oh, one day I want to make a car. Some of them just felt they just liked cars. They just liked toy cars, never knowing that just a desire for how they're made would then lead them into certain conversations with certain people to be like, well, if you like it that much, maybe you should come to this particular factory. Maybe we should go to this conference. And then it starts to inspire you to see these things. And then you say, oh, you know what? I'm going to try something. And then trying something. I just watched the Martha Stewart documentary. She just wanted to be married. She just literally just wanted to be a wife. And for the most part, a stay-at-home wife that just took good care of her home. Mm-hmm. Just made food look nice and made her home look nice. She did not know that she would create $1 billion business off of just doing something she liked to do at her own home.
Yeah.
But such is life. That's what happens. So it's like you probably will never have it fully figured out. I'm sure Beyonce is somewhere with all of her glory, all of her wealth, being like, what else can I do? She is now in the liquor business. Yeah. Do I think 17-year-old Beyonce wanted to make whiskey? Probably not. She just wanted to sing with her friends. Mm-hmm. She just wanted to be rich and famous off of singing with her friends. And boy, oh boy, has that morphed and changed into a bunch of other things.
No, that's real. I mean, Brie and I are 7 years in. Mm-hmm. And I think now is probably the first time that what we're doing together and what she's doing, she feels like truly aligned with and really happy with what she's doing.
7 years.
7 years. Yeah. Like, and we launched a business together. We've been super successful, launched many different brands, have done this and done that. But now what she's doing, which is full-time now doing the relationship restore stuff, like that she now feels aligned with, like, this is really ultimately like what makes sense for me. I get to be me. I get to talk about, future kids and like family and my relationship, which I love. I get to help people in ways that I like to help people. I get to fellowship with women and do all these different things. It's like, that took 7 years for her to like figure that out and come to grips with and let certain ideas die, try things, really commit to things, try it. It didn't work out. Like, all these things are things she had to figure out. But I will say that you're young, so you have to understand this as you go. But as a man, I think we have a different responsibility, especially being a leader in your relationship. Like, I think there's somewhat, and there should be, I don't know, people might argue should be, but there is possibly for women some inkling, like some little thought in their mind that possibly, depending on the situation, that they could be in a situation where they may not have to work, you know, if they get into a relationship or are married. Like that is a possibility that could be accepted. I don't think there's any man, like me being 30, even at the age of 21, I knew for the next 40 years I'm going to be working regardless. Right. So it's like, and then now knowing I'm going to have a family, it's like, or knowing, you know, I get married and possibly having a family, it's like, I need to make sure my family is good.
Yeah.
So my level of ambition and things I need to achieve needs to be higher than my wife's.
Yeah.
Like I might marry an ambitious woman, which I do. I have an ambitious wife, but my level just naturally needs to be higher because if we have kids and stuff like that, there's going to be times where she may need to take a break to take care of the family, which is a responsibility that and a job that is valued and needed in our relationship for our family. But as far as income, somebody needs to continue to provide that. So my level of ambition needs to be higher. But I always tell men, if you want a life for yourself and for your family, it's primarily on you to try to create that. Like whether that's making a certain amount of income to allow that life, whether that's devising a plan to lay out so that the person that you're with can buy into that plan. So it's like, even with the changes that Brie and I made in our relationship and her coming on to help relationship restore full time, it's like, that was something I wanted, not only just because she's amazing at what she does, but also from a temperament standpoint, like not seeing her stressed out about things, making sure that she's good when it comes to like the baby and stuff like that, when we do have kids and all and all that. But I had to craft that. I had to go get a job that made sure it covered all of our expenses, all our bills. I had to build a brand that was profitable even on its own to where she felt comfortable. I had to time after time create an environment that made her feel comfortable with the thing that I know I ultimately wanted for her in our relationship. So it's like, you men always demanding things of women, I want you to do this, I want you to do that, I want you to do this, I want you to do that. Are you creating an environment of where she feels comfortable to do that, or a plan of which allows you to do that? That is your responsibility. So it's like, instead of demanding her to do X, Y, and Z, you create a plan and you create an environment that makes her feel good about that. So even if you want her to be more ambitious, you can say, hey, like in your situation, if I could do it again and I would be like, hey, let's talk about our goals and what we want to achieve. All right, if this is what we want to achieve, it probably makes sense for you to get a job. I don't know what it's going to be in, whether it's in the medical services or something like that, because we at least need to cover our baseline of expenses or whatever we're doing. But outside of that, even try to get something that doesn't require a heavy commitment or take all of your time, because I want you to try the things that you also want to try. Like, so if you got to work your job, we got to both work our jobs. I'm heavy in this industrial stuff, so I'm going head first. This is where I want to be. I want to grow in it. So my ambition in this is going to be crazy. You can work this job, I don't know, it could be temp service, something like that, that at least gives us, an additional $1,200 a month to help us cover our bills and stuff. But then outside of that, explore whatever you want. And then once we get to X amount of dollars or do this, or once I get promoted to this, then I'm okay with, for some time, you stepping away to figure out what you want. Like, if you come to women with a plan on how to achieve things, like, you'll be surprised how much they will buy in to what you're doing. If first you can show that you're trustworthy in your word and the things that you say that you're going to do, but also the plan is solid and it shows a method of like, I know what you want. This is the plan that I'm thinking that we could do to give you what you want. And all you got to do is just trust me and buy in, and I'm working my ass off to make sure you got that. You'll be so surprised how everything will come together.
Well, sweetheart, you wanted Dre Smith's opinion. I ain't got nothing else to say about it. Would I say not a word? Not a word other than hallelujah. And you got an offering coming your way. Your collection plate is knocking on my door right now. It's knocking on my door. I mean, seriously, I'm so serious. Yes. That. All of that. Every word of it, actually. I don't disagree with an ounce. I have nothing further to contribute to that. Yeah.
Stop complaining, lead. That's what it is. Leading is teaching. Leading is giving patience. Leading is like you can't. Leading is not just demanding somebody do something without any assistance from you.
And you did say that you would help her, so stick with that. Stay there. Stay in that lane. Stay off of the you on the clock, you only got 2 to 3 years, or I'm gonna go be with somebody else who is as driven as me that's at the top of their game. Respectfully, you are not at the top of your game.
Nope.
And in 2 to 3 years, you're not gonna be at the top of your game. And I don't say that as like a you couldn't be wildly successful. You couldn't be a high earner in 2 to 3 years. Listen, crazy things have happened. My ex's daughter's boyfriend was 25 years old making $150,000. It's very not usual, but it can happen. So I'm not saying that still does not necessarily translate to the top of your game. That phrase within itself is very interesting. So stay in the lane of support and help. Evaluate and understand if your partner is lazy or if they are just trying to find their way, just like you are finding your way. And then every single thing else that Dre said. Every single thing else that Dre said. That's it. You got anything else? You got anything else on this? Because legit.
It's just the leading is like
period.
I had to learn what leadership was, man. And watch the video that we had before about leadership is taking care of those people in your charge. Like that's what leadership is. And it takes patience, man. Like it takes like the easy part of which the society tells you as a man is just earning and taking care of your family from a monetary standpoint. Yeah. But there's so much more to that security that you need to provide that goes beyond just financial security, man. It's emotional, it's spiritual, it's having, like I said, it's creating an environment for your family to be successful in so many different ways. And you'll just be surprised if you come with that mindset and that way of operating, how much, especially if you're with somebody who loves you, how much they give you back that in return. Like if you're with somebody who you don't trust, then you probably shouldn't be in a relationship with that person. But if you trust that person or you say you trust that person, you got to give them the space to also make decisions that will be best for them, but also will positively impact you and your family in the future. And I would agree with Rhonda that you're not at the top of your game yet. You're on a great path, but even you expressing to her that she had a time limit is not at the top of your game.
Nope.
It's not. And
the game is way bigger than the jobs we choose.
It is. And don't fall into that trap, because that's very 50s, 60s, 70s to where I'm a man, I provide for my family, I done my job. Like you're in a position of where that's only part of what you're doing. Like you have so many other things that you have to understand and, you know, gain maturity in. You're 21. Like I said, it takes time, but I just want you to know that it's your responsibility to teach, to create an environment. Everything starts with you. And I guarantee if you lead with kindness, dog, it's going to work way better for you than the strong hand, the stick, essentially, of like demanding, telling, you should, demeaning, all these different things. And best believe you are planting a seed of resentment and issues if you keep putting yourself on a pedestal of having it all together and the person does not. Because let me tell you, when that coin flip, like you're going to be surprised that if you are ever down bad, let's say you lose your job and they found their passion, how that relationship dynamic is going to be. They're going to remember they weren't treated with grace and elegance and mercy and patience. They're going to be looking at you now dependent on them, right? And they're going to treat you in a certain way, like you shouldn't be talking or you shouldn't be doing this. What's going on? Why you ain't working? What happened to the job? You was on my butt about this. Like you don't want to plant that. Like relationships go up and down. You're going to have to lean on each other.
Yes.
So be there for her as she's trying to figure it out, create a plan and lead. That's it.
That's it. Ain't got no more. all I can tell you as a woman who's been on the receiving end of exactly what he's talking about, he's right. He's right, guys. Okay, it's my friend. It's my friend. He did that. Okay, listen, if you got a real love scenario, you write in. If you want Dre's opinion only, I'm fine with that. Okay, I'm fine with that. Well, we are here to help you. Please, please, please go to the website relationshiprestore.com and click that contact button and let us know what's going on in your love life. And follow us on social media. I'm at Ronnie Cakes.
As Dre Smith.
And at Relationship Restored. We'll see you next time.
Peace.